Good morning everyone. Basa tayo natin KJV Bibles. Today is June 2022, day 231. Time check guys, 1:10 Philippine time, 1 a.m. and 10 minutes Philippine time. 2 Kings 24 up to chapter 25, 2 Chronicles chapter 36. So tatlo yung babasahin natin. 2 Kings chapter 24. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him, and the Lord sent against him bands of the Chaldees, and bands of the Syrians, and bands of the Moabites, and bands of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Judah to destroy it. According to the word of the Lord which he spake by his servants, the prophets, surely at the commandment of the Lord came this upon Judah to remove them out of his sight for the sins of Manasseh according to all that he did, and also for the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood which the Lord would not pardon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and all that he did are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Jehoiachin his son reigned in his stead. And the king of Egypt came not again any more out of his land, for the king of Babylon had taken from the river of Egypt unto the river of Euphrates all that pertained to the kings, unto the river of Euphrates all that pertained to the king of Egypt. Verse 8. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months, and his mother's name was Neshoda, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father had done. At that time, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against the city, and his servants did besiege it. And Jehoiachin, the king of Judah, went out to the king of Babylon, and he and his mother, and his servants, and his prince, and his officers, and the king of Babylon took him in the 8th year of his reign. And he carried out thence all the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king's house, and cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Solomon king of Israel had made in the temple of the Lord, as the Lord had said. And he carried away all Jerusalem, and all the princes, and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained, save the poorest sort of the people of the land. And he carried away Jehoiachin to Babylon, and the king's mother, and the king's wives, and his officers, and the mighty of the land. Thus carried he into captivity from Jerusalem to Babylon. And all the men of might, even 7,000, and craftsmen and smiths 1,000, all that were strong and up for war, even them the king of Babylon brought captive to Babylon. And the king of Babylon made Mattaniah his father's brother king in his stead, and changed his name to Zedekiah. And the king of Babylon made Mattaniah his father's brother king in his stead, and changed his name to Zedekiah. Really? A father's brother. Okay, verse 18. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem and his mother's. Kasi nung araw guys, talagang pinapalitan yung mga name nila. So verse 18. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. Napasensya nyo na yung yung background voice, kundi kahol ng aso, hilik. Kayaan nyo na. Hindi ako makachempo ng talagang sobrang tahimik na oras, guys. Okay, verse 18, ulit tayo. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. Kaya minsan mas gusto ko pa sa HQ mag-vlog. Kasi ako lang ang gising doon. pag sobrang aga. Okay, verse 19. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. Okay, verse 20. For through the anger of the Lord it came to pass in Jerusalem and Judah, until he had cast him out from his presence, that Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. Okay, talking chapter 25. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came, he and all his host, against Jerusalem, and preached against it. And they built forts against it round about. And the city was besieged unto the 11th year of King Zedekiah, and on the 90th day of the 4th month, the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land. Verse 4. And the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled by night by the way of the gate between two walls, which is by the king's garden. Now the Chaldees were against the city round about. And the king went away toward the plain, and the army of the Chaldees pursued after the king, and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and all his army were scattered from him. Verse 6. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon to Riblah, and they gave judgment upon him, and they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babylon. Verse 8. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard of servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem. Verse 9. And he burnt the house of the Lord, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt he with fire. Verse 10. And all the army of the Chaldees that were with the captain of the guard brake down the walls of Jerusalem round about. Now the rest of the people that were left in the city, and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babylon with the remnant of the multitude, did Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carry away. Verse 12. But the captain of the guard left of the poor of the land to be vine dressers and husbandmen, and the pillars of brass that were in the house of the Lord, and the bases and the brazen sea that was in the house of the Lord, did the Chaldees break in pieces, and carry the brass of them to Babylon. And the pots, and the shovels, and the snuffers, and the spoons, and all the vessels of brass wherewith the minister took they away. And the firepans, and the bowls, and such things as were of gold in gold, and of silver in silver, the captain of the guard took away. The two pillars, one sea, and the vases which Solomon had made for the house of the Lord, the brass of all these vessels was without weight. The height of the one pillar was 18 cubits, and the chapiter upon it was brass, and the height of the chapiter 3 cubits, and the width and the written work and pomegranates upon the chapiter round about all of brass, and like unto this had the second pillar with written work. And the captain of the guard took Seraiah the chief priest, and Zebaniah the second priest, and the three keepers of the door. And out of the city he took an officer that was set over the men of war, and 5 men of them that were in the king's presence, which were found in the city, and the principal scribe of the host, which mastered the people of the land, and 30 men of the people of the land. Times 20 yung 30 na yun, guys, kaya mag 60 yan. And 30 men of the people of the land that were found in the city. And Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, took this and brought them to the king of Babylon to Riblah. And the king of Babylon smote them and slew them at Riblah in the land of Hamath, so Judah was carried away out of their land. And as for the people that remained in the land of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon had left, even over them he made Gedaliah the son of Ahikam the son of Shaphan ruler. And when all the captains of the armies, they and their men, heard that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah governor, there came to Gedaliah to Mizpah, even Ishmael the son of Nethaniah, and Johanan the son of Karai, and Zariah the son of Tanhumeth, the Netophathite, and Jahazaniah the son of Maachatite, they and their men. Verse 24. And Gedaliah swore to them and to their men, and said unto them, Fear not also be the servants of the Chaldees dwell in the land, and serve the king of Babylon, and it shall be well with you. But it came to pass in the 7th month that Ismael the son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama of the seed royal, came, and 10 men with him, and smote Gedaliah, that he died, and the Jews and the Chaldees that were with him at Mizpah. Verse 26, and all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies, wait lang guys. Ano to? Verse balikan natin mamaya yung verse 25. Lamig ng tubig. Verse 25. But it came to pass in the 7th month that Ismael the son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama of the seed Uriel, came, and 10 men with him, and smote Gedaliah, that he died, and the Jews and the Chaldees that were with him at Mizpah. Verse 26. And all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldees. And it came to pass in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 7th and 28th day of the month, on the 7th and the 28th day, okay. Kung sa ano natin ngayon, sa calendar natin ngayon, yung, di ba new calendar tayo? Kung sa ngayon natin pagbabasihan, 7th and the 12th month, so December, in the 12th month, tapos on the 7th and 28th day, so 27. So, 12:27 kung iintindihin mo talaga mabuti guys. Kasi iba sila mag format ng ng date. Okay, ganito. And the 12th month, kung sa new calendar tayo, so, kung sa calendar natin pagbabasihan, ano tayo? 12 month is December sa atin, di ba? Tapos pag sinabing on the 7 and 28 days, so 27 of the month, okay. So pagkaintindi ko, December 27 sa calendar natin ngayon. So, pero sa calendar to ng luma eh. Hindi ko alam ang luma. Okay. Ulit, verse 27. And it came to pass in the 7th and 38th year of the captivity of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 7th and 28th day of the month, that Evil-Merodach, king of Babylon, in the year that he began to reign, did lift up the head of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, out of prison. And he spake kindly to him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments, and he did eat bread continually before him all the days of his life, and his allowance was a continual allowance given him of the king, a daily rate for every day, all the days of his life. So tapos na tayo dyan sa 2 Kings. Balikan natin yung daily reading plan. So, to Chronicles na tayo, chapter 36. To Chronicles, chapter 36, verse 1. Basa. Then the people of the land took Jehoaz. Basa rin kayo guys, para pare-pareho tayo matuto sa Word of God. Scriptures. Okay. Verse 1, then the people of the land took Ahaz, the son of Josiah, and made him king in his father's instead, in Jerusalem. Jehoahaz was 20 and 3 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. And the king of Egypt put him down at Jerusalem and condemned the land in 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. Noong araw guys, silver and gold ang mga nila, pambayad nila. And the king of Egypt made Eliakim his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem, and turned his name to Jehoiakim. So, yung Eliakim guys, ginawang Jehoiakim. And Egypt took Jehoahaz his brother and carried him to Egypt. Jehoiakim was 20 and 5 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God. Against him came up Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and bound him in fetters. To carry him to Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar also carried off the vessels of the house of the Lord to Babylon, and put them in his temple at Babylon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and his abominations which he did, and that which was found in him, behold, they are written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah. And Jehoiachin his son reigned in his stead. Jehoiachin was 8 years old when he began to reign. Guys, tingnan mo lang guys, ang bata pa oh. Imagine niyo na lang yung 8 years old na bata, tapos siya yung nag-reign sa sa Jerusalem. Jehoiachin was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months and 10 days in Jerusalem, and he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. 3 months lang siya nag-reign. 3 months and 10 days. Okay, verse 10. And when the year was expired, King Nebuchadnezzar sent and brought him to Babylon with the godly vessels of the house of the Lord, and with Zedekiah his brother king over Judah and Jerusalem. Zedekiah was 120 years old, so 21, when he began to reign, and reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God, and humbled not himself before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord. And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar. Lakasan na yung boses natin para hindi matalo sa mga naghihilig kabilaan. Okay. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord his God, and humbled not himself before Jeremiah the prophet, speaking from the mouth of the Lord. And he also rebelled against King Nebuchadnezzar, who had made him swear by God. But he stiffened his neck, and hardened his heart from turning unto the Lord God of Israel. Moreover, all the chief of the priests and the people transgressed very much after all the abominations of the heathen, and polluted the house of the Lord which he had hallowed in Jerusalem. And the Lord God of their fathers sent to them by his messengers, rising up betimes. Verse 15. And the Lord God of their fathers sent to them by his messengers, rising up betimes, and sending, because he had compassion of his people and on his dwelling place. But they mocked the messengers of God, and despised the words, and misused his prophets, until the wrath of the Lord arose against his people, till there was no remedy. Therefore he brought upon them the king of the Chaldees, who slew their young men with the sword in the house of their sanctuary, and had no compassion upon young men or maiden, old men or him that stopped for AIDS. He gave them all into his hand. Verse 18. And all the vessels of the house of God, great and small, and the treasures of the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king and of his prince, all this he brought to Babylon. And they burnt the house of God, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem, and burnt all the palaces thereof with fire, and destroyed all the godly vessels thereof. Verse 20. And them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the kingdom of Persia, to fulfill the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath, to fulfill 10 years. Now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, bilisan na guys, that the word of the Lord spoken by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom, and put it also in writing, saying, Thus said Cyrus, king of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth that had... Okay, ulit. Verse 23, guys. Thus said the Lord King of Persia, all the kingdoms of the earth hath the Lord God of heaven given me, and he hath charged me to build him an house in Jerusalem, which is in Judah. Who is there among you of all his people? The Lord his God be with him, and let him go up. Okay guys, nawa pare-pare tayo may natutunan dito. Bye everyone, God bless.